Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Tarot Tea Time. This is our Shawn and Camila part 2. We are diving into their past life connections, their karmic love. You guys, it's juicy. I'm going to have a little sip of my tarot tea. I hope you guys are doing well. I cannot wait for us to discuss. So much. You guys did so much. Okay, so first of all, it is not lost on me that Shawn is definitely going through a difficult time right now. So, of course, we want to send him love as we discuss this past life stuff, okay? Shawn Mendes canceled the rest of his tour weeks after he postponed concert dates. All right, so he told fans in a statement shared on his social media accounts, here's his quote, "I started this tour excited to finally get back to playing live after a long break due to the pandemic. But the reality is I was not at all ready for how difficult touring would be after this time away," he said. "It has become more clear that I need to take the time I've never taken personally to ground myself and come back stronger." Shawn has been very transparent with his fans about his mental health journey, his anxieties, his struggles with depression, and different things that I think most of us struggle with, most of us experience, right? So it's actually very refreshing. Shawn is a really wonderful soul, and Camila is a really wonderful soul. And wouldn't you know that these two wonderful souls, this is not the first time that they have met. I am going to start by saying I do believe that there's a twin flame connection here. I know that's a crazy claim, but here's why. When we look at their birth charts and we do some karmic astrology, and I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details, but the composite chart between the two of them tells us what their deeper connections look like in their chart. This is going beyond compatibility. This is looking specifically for indicators that the two of them could have had a past life together. And what I've uncovered is a lot. There's a lot of past life energy here. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So, okay, I'm going to tell you guys about all their connections of planets, and then we're going to do a tarot tea time reading because, of course, we have to. Here we go. Shawn and Camila have 4 South Node connections total. The South Node indicates a past life together. It can be an indicator of karma that needs to be settled in this lifetime, which can be good, and it could also have challenges, we'll say. There can be a need to repay a debt. On the other hand, there can be a promise to meet again with another soul. It's very romantic, of course. If you have a beautiful experience with that soul, you can make a promise to find each other again in a future life. It's beautiful, right? Okay, now between Shawn and Camila, by looking at their South Node connections, we can begin to understand their relationship in a past life or in past lives. I'm going to say due to the number of connections and the nature of these connections, which I'm going to explain, I think that they've actually known each other for several lifetimes. Here's why. First and foremost, the biggest deal, the red, like the blaring sign, is that Shawn's South Node is conjunct Camila's Venus. Venus is the planet of love and relationships. So this South Node Venus conjunction, if they had no other connections between their charts, no other past life indicators, this alone would tell us that they most likely had a romantic relationship in a past life, that they have done this before. This is not their first time being in love, and that this is really them picking up where they left off from a past life connection. The interesting thing about this type of connection is that in this lifetime, the South Node person, which is Shawn, will typically be the person to fall in love first, which if we look at Shawn and Camila's history, we know that Shawn talks about how he had a huge crush on Camila for a long time. And the other thing that's really kind of cute about this is that typically the South Node person will, like, this sounds weird, but I think it's sweet, will watch and observe the Venus person before actually deciding to step up and pursue that person, because the connection is very intense and natural for both of them once they get together. But the South Node person, Shawn in this case, is the person who knows from the very beginning, from even before they get together. They know on a very subconscious spiritual level, and they can really feel it inside, even if they don't want to admit it to themselves yet. They know that this connection is real and it's deep, and they feel something very intense for the other person. Especially, before they're together, they don't really understand why they feel this way. So it can be kind of a struggle for them to even, decide to be with the other person or to tell them how they feel, because it's almost overwhelming. And it's like, it's a soul connection, which is why it is like that. It's hard to explain. It's one of those things that you can't really explain. You can't put it into words, but you can feel it. So with them, what's interesting is in past interviews, and like Shawn has been so open. He's so sweet. I think he's such a good soul. And same with Camila. They're so sweet. He's been so open about saying that he was in love with Camila for the longest time and that all of his songs were about her. Oh my God, gave me chills. See, when the astrology tea is true. Goosebumps, like so sweet, right? So this is all like eerily true. I mean, you guys, wow. It's honestly overwhelming how intense and serious this love connection was. And we can just see it because, like I said, Shawn's been so open in the press, in the media, about his journey with Camila and about how much he loves her and the songs he would write for her, that we can actually really see it playing out. We have examples from him, straight from his mouth. You can take his word for it. And these examples back up these past life connections in their charts. So, okay, next. This is so this is kind of a sad thing. So the intensity of the connection. Now, anytime there is leftover karma or energy from a past life, it is not going to be like a light and breezy connection. And sometimes people are not in a place in their lives where they want to embrace that type of intense connection, because it can be very overwhelming. It can almost take you down into like a totally different path, than you had envisioned for yourself. It's the type of connection that you never forget. This is a life-altering connection. So you do have free will. They have free will, you have free will, I have free will. So we can choose to either say yes to pursuing a past life connection and either closing out the karma or remaining with that other soul for the rest of your life. Or sometimes people will choose to walk away because they have a different path in this life. So for Shawn and Camila, Camila being the planet person, she is the Venus person. For her, this connection can feel very draining. This Venus South Node connection can feel very draining for her. And it's possible that in this lifetime, if they do decide to not be together in the long run, the person who makes the decision to move on is most likely the planet person. So it's most likely Camila who would be the one to walk away and say, this is too much, right? And so, all right, another thing that Camila has to look out for. The Venus person's sense of self-worth can be compromised and worn down over time because of a desire to please the other person. So it's almost like, Camila feels so much like lifted up on this pedestal by Shawn, which, oh my God, don't we totally see that, right? And it's so sweet and romantic, but that pressure on one person who also has their own insecurities, their own struggles. You guys, I could do like a full series on their astrology and on their lives and how I could do a full series, seriously. Like, it's so hard to narrow all this, to, bring all this energy down. And if you guys wanted a third installment, I'm happy to do it because I've learned so much about these two and I really like them genuinely. So, okay. So with this self-worth component, now we have to remember, based on the last video, that Shawn and Camila both have their North Node in Virgo, which means that they are both learning to embody more Virgo energy, and they're using their skills, their natural talents of Pisces South Node energy, which is emotional, empathetic, creative, and they are integrating those natural talents with the skills that they're developing to become more of a Virgo, which is the sign like associated with service, being more service oriented, being like healthy and having a schedule and just being a little bit more grounded. Okay, being more grounded and less floaty, right? So Pisces people just kind of want to float away into the ether of dreaminess. And so we can see that a past life Venus connection would be beautiful, But at the same time, that is not going to help you stay grounded unless you are extremely emotionally mature and ready for something like this, okay? So it could be why it didn't work out this time around. But we really have to know and look at all of their connections in order to make some sort of observation. Okay, so here's kind of how it works. With the astrology reading, we can say, okay, here is their relationship laid out. This is the dynamic. This is how they relate to each other. And then with the tarot, we can say, based on their energy in this moment, here is the outcome. But because of free will, something could happen tomorrow where one of them changes their mind and they decide to get onto a higher vibration or a lower vibration. Like we just don't know. So it's complicated. I need more tarot tea. Oh my God. It's a lot. All right. So moving on. Like I said, I could talk about this forever, but moving on. Essentially, with this connection, with the South Node Venus connection, love comes easily. It feels like they're picking up where they left off. It's a natural love relationship once it gets going. Shawn is the one who's going to feel it initially. It's going to be harder for him to pursue it because it feels so intense. Then Camila is going to fall in love as well because of that South Node connection. It feels very familiar and it just feels right, okay? And then ultimately the decision will be, at the end of the day, even if Shawn breaks up with Camila first, I definitely think that he came back to LA. We'll discover that. We'll talk about that in the tarot, but I think he came back to LA to try to get Camila back. And then Camila posted on TikTok this video where she was, and I know it was a song that was released, and she could just be promoting her song, but it was all about like the words were something like you played around and you did this, and like I can do the same thing. I'm single and hot, and like something about her being single and like having fun. And she posted that the same day that the CNN article came out, talking about how Shawn made that announcement. And I was just like to cancel his tour. And I was just like, that is strange. And I know that might sound kind of weird, but based on all their connections, they are connected. Like there's no way that these two, even if they're not together in the physical, like they're connected. Their souls are intertwined. So I thought that was very telling. I definitely took that as a sign that Camila is not on that train right now. She's not trying. She's walking away at this moment, and it can change, but I think that's what's currently going on. Okay, so Shawn's South Node is also conjunct Camila's Sun. Now, the Sun rules our ego, our sense of self, like who we are. We're actually in Leo season right now, and Leo season is all about the Sun. So the energy of the Sun, it's like your life force. It's your vital energy. What like gets you going, your creativity, your ability to shine and to be in the spotlight. Now, this South Node conjunct the Sun is really interesting because this means that there's a connection between the two of them that affects Camila's identity and the way that she sees herself. So a lot of the time, these past life connections can, even if they don't work out, for example, even if it doesn't work out, there are lessons that you're meant to learn. So, for example, if it doesn't work out because of that South Node Venus connection, she would learn lessons about love and he would learn lessons about love that, they would both take forth into their next relationships. Same thing with the Sun connection. So Camila will learn something about having her own identity from this relationship, and Shawn will too, but that is a primary lesson for Camila to learn to it's all about self-validating, to see your worth, to see your beauty, to shine, allow yourself to shine, because with this connection, oh my God, if it becomes codependent, this is why I think later in life, for really intense South Node connections like this, they can last a lifetime and they can be beautiful connections. And it could be that they were together in a past life and made a promise to be together again. It's so sweet. Oh my God. Especially because they both incarnated we're going to get really woo-woo, especially because they both incarnated as singers and as artists. I feel like they definitely, okay, I take back what I said before. I'm getting this feeling that they definitely incarnated together for a reason, on purpose. So based on that, I think that they would most likely end up together later in life. Because they both have to be at a certain level of maturity before they will be able to fully self-actualize on their own, like if not, there's this big possibility of the two of them becoming codependent, not only because they have that South Node in Pisces, which Pisces energy can be codependent by nature, but they also have these connections with like Venus, the sun, Camila's Mercury, which I'm going to talk about next, Shawn's Jupiter. It's like these major planets. There are so many of them. It's like if they are not fully formed and really strong in who they are as individuals, the energy and the connection is so overwhelming that it's almost like it would be too intense for anyone to handle. Do you know what I mean? It's like you would lose yourself in it. So that brings me to this. So the sun person helps the South Node person in this lifetime, by the way. So Camila brings a lot of love and light and warmth to Shawn's world, which he's talked about that. But they have to be really careful that the relationship doesn't end up holding them back from realizing their own full potential. So because Camila is the sun person and Shawn is the South Node person, again, Camila has this responsibility. The planet person always has the power in the dynamic, okay? So when it comes to these specific areas of their chart that we're talking about, so with the sun energy, Camila, it's really up to her whether she self-actualizes or not. And that means like that's part of her lesson in this lifetime, to remain her own, like to stay with her own identity, to self-validate, even if she's not always validated by Shawn, or even if she doesn't agree. It's like this need to be yourself and to be able to stand alone and to shine and not feel like you need others. And what's really interesting is with Fifth Harmony, the girl group that she was about, that she was in, we see that she was one of many, back then. And she already kind of went through this soul lesson, I think, with Fifth Harmony, where she had to realize that it was okay for her to go it alone. Coincidentally, or not coincidentally, spiritually aligned, Shawn was it was Shawn and Machine Gun Kelly. Those were the two people that she first did solo projects with when she was still with Fifth Harmony. After that, the whole thing collapsed. And if you go on YouTube and look at any videos, it's like really sad how it feels like all of them turned against her because they felt, I'm just going to tell you what I think, they felt insecure that she was able to do her own thing. She was always placed like in the middle of photos. She was always the one singing lead vocal. So I do think that there was, and they were all young, so I think there was a lot of tension, and there was this discouragement of her. Like it was like, don't shine, be one of the group. You don't need to shine. So I think that's one of her life lessons, one of her soul lessons, is to learn to self-validate and to shine. Now with Shawn, that is one of the points in her chart that is, like, it's like it touches that point of her chart. And again, people who touch those points in our chart where we're learning, either for good or for bad, it helps us grow. It's divinely aligned. So that's something to watch, though. There's also an instant chemistry and familiarity between the two of them. There's a warmth between the two, between people with this connection, South Node, Sun, and it's a very strong placement. There's also the possibility that this was an authority figure relationship in a past life. Like one of them was an authority figure over the other one. And in this case, I think it would be, Camila would have maybe been like Shawn's boss or something in the past. I don't know. Interesting, just things to think about. All right. And then last but not least of Shawn's South Node connections to Camila's chart, Shawn's South Node is conjunct Camila's Mercury. Now, it's kind of funny, but this is an indicator that they could have been siblings in a past life. Now, I mean, I know it sounds weird, but like if we go down that reincarnation path, that's another video. But yeah, like there are people that believe, and I mean, I don't know, it could be true, that you reincarnate with a soul group, and so everybody just kind of like changes positions. I don't know, interesting. But again, that's another video. You guys leave all your comments below. This was so like energizing for me to dive into and so interesting. Like I got my little research hat on. So anything from this video that you guys want to know more about, just let me know below and I'll make a video for you. Okay, so this connection between the South Node and Mercury indicates a really strong intellectual connection. Now, here's the crazy part, you guys. This freaked me out. So Shawn feels that Camila understands him more than anyone else. Now, according to this CNN article, I quote, this is what Shawn said. Okay, in March, Shawn Mendes posted on Instagram that he was feeling alone after the split. Who do I call when I'm like in a panic attack? Who do I call when I'm on the effing edge? Now I feel like finally I'm actually on my own, and I hate that. So this wasn't just a run-of-the-mill dating relationship. He truly felt like Camila understood him, and without her in his life, there's this feeling that, you know, he feels almost aimless, or like he doesn't really know who to count on, who to turn to, because she did have a deep, and still does have a deep understanding of his psychology. There's also a lot in their chart that tells us that, you know, if you go back to the last video, I mean, the same north-south node, like they're on such parallel journeys that we can really understand why he would feel that way. And the south node conjunct Mercury, I just got chills. Like I just got goosebumps. Yeah, like it really explains it. Oh my God. Okay, so the south node person, Shawn, feels like the Mercury person can understand their thoughts, and there's almost a psychic connection between the two of them. Now, one of you guys mentioned in the comments below in the last video on part 1 that it seems like the two of them will mirror each other. Like they will kind of say the same things in interviews, but like at different times in different years. 1000%. I went and looked for that, and 100% true. This would be an explanation for that. The south node conjunct Mercury, the fact that they are on the same wavelength when it comes to thinking, and like also a lot of their life experiences, they truly do understand each other. It just explains all that mirroring. Okay. Last but not least, Camila's south node is conjunct Shawn's Jupiter. Okay, so Camila, the south node person, most likely sees Shawn as her good luck charm. Like, that's very sweet, and we can see that. Like I said, when she was with Fifth Harmony, Shawn was one of the first people that she actually did a solo song with, which is what she wanted. She wanted to be able to break out on her own. She wasn't feeling fulfilled. Oh my God, if you guys look at any of the Fifth Harmony stuff, it was so dark, and like it seems like it was just really terrible. Kind of back in the day, you know, in the early aughts when there was just a lot of bad stuff going on in the music industry, and there still is. But I think back then it was just horrible. Like poor Britney Spears, like just people being taken advantage of. So anyway, so she looks at him as her good luck charm, and the two of them together can really help each other develop spiritually. Jupiter rules like spirituality. Also because they both have their Pisces south node, they are very spiritual. They are very emotional people. So they can help one another to think through their own philosophies. Like they just have that level of connection. It's very spiritual, and they can have a really positive effect. Now, on the dark side, in the past, there could have been a teacher-student dynamic, and this could be a payback lifetime, but I don't think so. Okay, and then on the negative side, this connection could drain the Jupiter person, which is Shawn, and because of all their other connections, I'm going to say that I think Shawn, one of the things that he's working on is his ability to trust himself. Now, with the Jupiter South Node connection, you know, for Shawn, because he is the Jupiter person, this indicates that he's one of the main themes that he is drawn to in this lifetime, one of the things he's working on. You can also see that in his numerology. Again, that's another video. Let me know if you want to know about that. But he is here to work on his spiritual development. And because he's working on his belief system, his spiritual development, and we see that in a lot of his interviews as well, because he's very open. But if Camila doesn't always agree with him spiritually, because she's on, you know, she has her own ideas, it's not like they agree on everything, he is learning to self-validate when it comes to his spirituality and his belief system. And right now, the fact that he is, you know, pulling out of touring, I talked about it in the last video, but a lot of that has to do with the South Node in Pisces, North Node in Virgo. That is typically how those people tend to deal with feelings of fear and anxiety. They tend to, you know, just take a step back when really, and you know what, and I'm not a therapist, I don't know. I'm talking about like in astrology, the advice would be to, that you have to face it. and that, that's like what you're supposed to do. That's part of your life path, but it's really hard, and especially for people with that South Node in Pisces, like this is one of their main life themes. So it's not easy. Like I'm sure Shawn is really struggling. And so if he did need to take a step back, that's good that he did. But in the long run, eventually, I think that what he's working on in this lifetime is believing in himself, having faith in the universe, and learning to push through and not get caught up in his emotions and not get caught up in any anxieties. Their connection is very intense though, you guys. We will definitely have to see what unfolds. But those are like all of their past life connections. So before we go, of course, we got to do a little tarot tea. Let's see what we can see about what's going on with them. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys, I really do think that Shawn came back ready to get back together, to pour his heart out to Camila. He traveled. He realized, hey, the grass is not greener out there. I don't want to be with anybody else. I'm singing all these songs about her. We're separated now. I think he had this moment of like, what did I do? You know what I mean? Like, so, and then I think she said, no, like I sold our house. Like I went through all this stuff. Like I'm not ready to just get back together. Like you really hurt me. That's like what I imagine the dialogue was. But let's get some tarot tea confirmation. So when Shawn first arrived in Los Angeles, what was his attitude towards Camila? How did he feel about her? Like what were his intentions? What were his intentions? What did he think? The Seven of Pentacles reversed. Oh my God, well, Seven of Pentacles reversed. Seven of Pentacles in the upright is working. So he was like, I don't want to work right now. I wonder if that was one of the things that broke them up. Now that I think about it, maybe she wanted them to coordinate their schedules to where they could both, like, they would both be where he, like, she would go with him on his tour, but it would be, like, timed when, her album had already come out. Do you know what I mean? Like, they would time it to where they would be a team and be, like, on his projects for a little bit, and then they go to her projects, which would take a lot of planning, but, I mean, with that many assistants, that much money, you could totally do it. So I'm going to say with the Seven of Pentacles reversed, he came back saying, see, like, you were more important to me than my work. I made a mistake. I know I said I wanted a tour and like I wanted a break from our relationship, but I don't want that anymore. I'm willing to give anything up to be with you. Oh my God. I just got goosebumps. Okay. Confirmation. It's so sad though, isn't it? It's really sad. Okay. How did Camila feel when he approached her with this information, this declaration of love? How did Camila feel? What was her response? What was Camila's response? The Ten of Cups. Oh my gosh. That's that's love. Whoa. Oh my God. Maybe the tarot tea truth is that they are getting back together. Maybe that TikTok that she posted was just to like lead people astray so that they would like maybe she wanted us to think that she was like free for the summer, but really Ten of Cups. Oh my God. Okay. We need clarification on this Ten of Cups. If they do get back together, oh my God, that would just be that'd be so precious. Because they are soulmates. I mean, for sure. 1000%. Oh, I just got goosebumps again. This is like such an intense connection. It's so sweet. It's such a genuine love, All right, clarification. Nine of Cups, self-care. That's what we were talking about with their reading, with their astrology. It's like they can be together in this Ten of Cups energy. Okay, so we have the Ten of Cups, but before the Ten of Cups comes the Nine of Cups. In the Nine of Cups, she's by herself. In the Ten of Cups, she's finally with someone else. So this is the energy of like you have to be happy with yourself before you can be happy with someone else. And I know it's cliche and people say that, but it's true, especially with what we've seen of their birth charts, like with their composite North Node in Virgo, they are both headed the same direction. Ideally, they would be a great match because they're both like working on the same stuff. Like they would be able to really be like a support team for each other. But if they're not in their highest self, if they're not both focused on the same thing and they're heading in opposite directions, like, it would just be so destructive for both of them because this is not like a light and breezy energy. So, okay, so this card is saying, to clarify this card is saying, but we need to work on ourselves. Okay, interesting. So Totally makes sense. So what is, of course, Camila, she knew. She said what was up. Okay. So what is the nature of their relationship at this moment? What card describes their relationship at this moment? What is their relationship status at this moment? Eight of Swords, anxiety. But okay, hold on. But Nine of Swords is anxiety about things that are real. Eight of Swords is self-imposed anxiety. And if I'm going to ask who is anxious, I bet you it is Shawn. Let's get clarification. Who is the anxious Eight of Swords energy? Please describe who in this couple is feeling that way. Could be both of them. Could be Camila. Could be Shawn. I'm going to guess that it's Shawn, but let's see. Seven of Wands, competition. Someone's worried about competition, about someone swooping in and like, I really feel like this is Shawn, but I need the cards to confirm it. Shawn maybe, okay. So I think that Camila said, yes, like this like made her happy. 10 of Cups energy. This is like her wish fulfillment. This is exactly what she wanted. And I think she was honest with him about that because I think they do have that very beautiful connection. And she said, but I need to continue to work on myself and find happiness within, and so do you, because I don't want us to repeat negative patterns that we fell into in our past relation the last time around. You know, I'm willing to give it another shot, but I want us to both really be in a good place and for us to be ready, which I think puts Shawn into this Eight of Swords energy of worrying about things that aren't real. Like he can trust her. He doesn't have to worry. But I think he is worrying. And then what he's worried about is like this Seven of Wands energy, like someone else might come in before, you know, they get back together and could like sweep her off her feet maybe. Okay, let's get one more card to confirm that this truly is Shawn with the Seven of Wands and the Eight of Swords. Who is the person worrying about competition? Okay, the Knight of Wands. Yep. Shawn, obviously. The Knight of Wands, passionate. He's come out, I believe, as the Knight of Wands before, or some Wands energy. He's come out as very passionate in the past readings. But yeah, so confirmation, Shawn is the one who is worried. Interesting. We have Wands here, and Shawn's only 23 years old. So, you know, this is a lot for both of them. I mean, and Camila's only 25. So it's like these two people are, you know, God bless them. They're on the world stage. They're dealing with all this crap that most of us have to deal with, like, you know, in college, behind the scenes. Like, no one's judging us and writing about it. Anyway, I wish both of them the best. And I think that they have a really great chance of making it. We will check back in on them in a little while. We'll let it kind of percolate. And if you guys, like as far as a reading goes, and if you guys do want to dive into their astrology or their numerology even more, let me know in the comments below. If not, I've got more tarot tea times coming your way. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being patient with me. I know that I keep saying like, oh, I'll be back in 2 days. This time I really will be consistent. But you guys moving and the dog and like having a puppy, it's wild. It's been wild, but we're getting into a groove slowly but surely. I'm a Virgo, so don't worry. Like I will get there, I promise. Oh, and before I go, if you guys want any discount codes, I have one for you. Green Chef. You guys can just check that code out below. I love Green Chef because it's not only good for the environment, but you can get tons of different types of meals. It's one of those home delivery meal services. There's like, let's see, you can do like keto, healthy. You can do like mixed meals if you and your husband eat differently like mine do. Like my husband and I do. There are a lot of options. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details here, but you guys can just check that discount out below if you want to do it. I love to use it because it just makes it so much easier. I can like make a special dinner a couple of nights a week. I get my box in. It has like all the directions. It keeps it easy, you know, so I can be here doing tarot tea times. You know, I don't want to be at the grocery store. I want to be playing with my puppy, doing a tarot tea time, but I still want my husband to think I'm like an amazing chef, and Green Chef helps me do that. So, okay. Love you guys so much. I will see you here in another couple days for real this time. Love you.